हर तरफ
Mantap.
फिक्र को दौड़ा के थकाया हमने मुस्तफा पर मुस्तफा पर तेरा बेहद हो सलाम और रहमत मुस्तफा पर तेरा बेहद हो सलाम और रहमत उससे ये नूर लिया बारे खुदाया हमने उससे ये नूर लिया बार
Ya baik, asyhadu an la ilaha illallah wahdahu la syarikalah wa asyhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh amma ba'du. Hadirin yang mulia, para peserta, pemirsa Tarbiyat online di seluruh Nusantara. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Ya, alhamdulillah puji syukur kehadirat Allah Subhanahu wa taala yang selalu memberikan kita nikmat dan karunia-Nya sehingga kita dapat berjumpa kembali, dapat berkumpul dalam program Tarbiyat online. Salawat serta salam, mari kita curahkan dan mari kita junjungkan kepada Nabi besar Muhammad Rasulullah Shallallahu Alaihi Wasallam dan untuk keluarganya serta para sahabatnya. Dan tak lupa kita doakan kepada Hazrat Khalifatul Masih Al-Khamis Ayyadullah Ta'ala bin Nasril Aziz. Semoga beliau selalu dalam keadaan sehat walafiat. Alhamdulillah pada kesempatan kali ini untuk tarbiyat online kita berjumpa kembali dalam membahas suatu topik berkenaan dengan perkembangan MTA di seluruh dunia yang insya Allah nanti akan dikupas oleh rekan saya juga Kang Faris Abdul Salam dan Maulana Taha Syekh Taha yang akan membahas topik mengenai MTA. Kemudian sudah hadir juga di tengah-tengah kita Bapak narasumber dan juga rekan saya Kang Faris. Untuk itu kita awali dulu program ini dengan doa mungkin akan dibimbing dan dipandu juga oleh rekan saya Kang Faris. Silakan Kang Faris.
Baik, jazakumullah Kang Nizam. Thanks for joining us today in our weekly online Tarbiyat. We will play your recorded video, but before that, please, I have request you to lead us in silent prayers. Jazakumullah.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay, Jazakallah for inviting me. Let's join me in a silent prayer. Let's see. Put this topi over here. Okay, please join me in a silent prayer. Dua. I mean,
Jazakumullah for Murabi Saib. Now I have a request for the team to play the recorded video. Saya di play videonya. Terima kasih Jazakumullah.
Oke, jazakumullah Kang Faris. Mungkin sebelumnya kita tampilkan terlebih dahulu untuk susunan acara pada hari ini. Ya, seperti biasa untuk susunan acara Tarbiyat online diawali dengan doa pembuka yang tadi sudah dipimpin oleh Maulana Syekh Taha. Kemudian nanti akan ada penayangan materi dalam bentuk video yang akan kita simak bersama. Setelah itu akan ada tanya jawab. Nanti untuk sesi tanya jawab akan dipandu oleh Kang Faris Abdul Salam dan juga Bapak Maulana Syekh Taha yang akan menanggapi pertanyaan-pertanyaan dari Bapak Ibu sekalian. Kemudian di pembacaan jawaban atau info-info dan kuis nanti akan dipandu juga oleh saya dan rekan yaitu Kang Faris. Kemudian untuk sesi tanya jawab mungkin Bapak Ibu sekalian bisa menyampaikan melalui kolom chat yang ada di Zoom, YouTube, atau bisa klik tombol raise hand. Boleh menggunakan bahasa kita sehari-hari ya, bahasa Indonesia, yang nanti akan ditranslate oleh Kang Faris. Kemudian nanti penutupan dan doa. Oke, baik. Untuk itu kita langsung saja masuk ke dalam materi. Untuk tim, silakan.
أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I have been asked to speak some things, tell you a little bit of background of MTA and the progress of MTA, the need for MTA, and some various points about MTA International and MTA Indonesia. So let me first start off by saying what is the need for MTA? What was the purpose of MTA to begin with? Okay. I'm sorry I'm not wearing my patchy because of this. I had to take it off for this program. We read in the Holy Quran, Allah Ta'ala says, قُلْ يَا أَيُّهَا النَّاسُ إِنِّي رَسُولُ اللَّهِ إِلَيْكُمْ جَمِيعًا, which means that the Holy Prophet ﷺ has been told to tell to the whole world that he is a prophet for the whole world, for all of us, not just for a specific group of people, but for the whole world, for all the people to come. And the Prophet Messiah ﷺ has explained that it was in the time of Holy Prophet ﷺ, one of the things that he did was complete the hidayah, the guidance in the form of the Quran and various things, Sunnah, Hadith. He completed our religion for us. Allah completed the religion for us in the time of Holy Prophet ﷺ. The other thing was to complete the isha'at, the propagation of Islam, the spread of Islam. In other words, we call it tabligh. And the Prophet ﷺ explained that in the time of Holy Prophet ﷺ, although hidayat, the guidance, the sharia was completed, but it was really not possible to complete the spread of Islam. Meaning, the reason for that was nations were separated from each other. They didn't know each other very well. Countries far away from each other, people didn't meet. There was no means of communication except by taking a journey, which would take many weeks or months. So it was not possible at that time for the message of Islam to reach the corners of the earth. But in the time of the promised Messiah, ﷺ, he explains that those means have been invented. one of the reasons is various nations are not ignorant of each other anymore. Everybody knows, each country knows about the existence of another country because of the way, the new ways of travel, through train, airplanes, ships, and whatnot. So, as I was saying that, with the various means of transportation which have been invented, people are able to meet each other, and the world has become one global village. And then there are some inventions, like the inventions of the printing press. So books could be published all over the world, spread very quickly. There is radio, and there is various other means, postal services, things like that, which started. And as we go on, throughout, after the time of, after Hazrat Masih Maud alayhi Islam, during the Khilafat of Hazrat Muslim Maud Raziyallahu anhu, and then so on, there were even more inventions. And I have one reference in 1938, Hazrat Khalifatul Masih Sani al-Muslim Maud Raziyallahu anhu said that the time is not far when it will be possible that there will be one person who will be sitting in one place, the Quran or anything like that. For example, from Qadian, there will be a dars of Quran or Hadith, and people in Java, Java right here, he gave the example of Java, this is where we live, or in America or Hungary or Arab world or Egypt, Iran, various other countries, people will be listening at the same time. And we know that this has now become possible with the coming of MTA. And one of the revelations of Hazrat Masih Maud alayhi salatu wasalam was, as we say in English, that I shall cause thy message to reach the corners of the earth. This has been fulfilled now, literally, that the message of Islam is going to the corners of the earth every day, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, constantly in many different languages, and it's happening all the time to all the corners of the world. It's because of the MTA. So this is a great blessing of Allah and the fulfillment of the prophecy of the promised Messiah alayhi salatu wasalam. We have had amazing things because of MTA. For example, the Alimi Bayat, the Bayat, the international Bayat. And you see that when it first happened, it was the first time ever in the history of Islam that something like that happened, where thousands of people took bayat at the hand of the Khalifa of the time, of Hazrat Khalifatul Masih the fourth, rahimahullah. But people all over the world were taking part in it too, even though they were not in England, they were not close to Huzur, but they were thousands of miles away, but they were still taking part in that bayat, and that tradition has continued. And we've seen the numbers grow. There's now hundreds of thousands, millions of Ahmadis who take part in international bayat. We are taking part from it, from here, from Indonesia, from various different parts of the world. It's all because of the blessings of MTA. These are all the prophecies of God Almighty and Hazrat Masih Maud alayhi salatu wasalam, that Allah Ta'ala informed him that these things will happen. And we are seeing these fulfillment of some of these prophecies today. So as you know, the television is one of the most important ways of communication, ways of learning about the whole world, what's happening in the world at any given time. So TV is something that is watched in almost every household. So having MTA on TV is basically, this way we are reaching to the houses of people, whether they're Ahmadis or Ghair Ahmadis. And almost everybody has access to a TV. So when MTA started, that was the aim, that it would really provide a great source of Tarbiyat and Tabligh all around the world, and that's what we see today. Um, so since it emerged in 1994, MTA has grown and spread all over the world. It has expanded from when it first started in London, and then now there are studios which are all over the world. There are so many MTA studios that are making programs in local languages and that are aired on MTA. And there's not just one channel now. There's a number of channels which provide various languages programming like English, Urdu, Russian, Arabic, French, German, Turkish, Indonesian. And many of these translations are happening simultaneously. So people from various parts of the world can listen to programs in their own languages and benefit from them. It is also something that it doesn't just focus on one type of programs or one age group, but MTA programming is for everybody, for men, women, young, old, children. And you see that MTA has grown so much to include programs for all age groups, kids, older people, women, everything. And it has included all these programs. MTA has, it is truly a global channel. It's not one channel for one country. It's really a global channel. And then by the grace of Allah, we've seen MTA start MTA Arabia, MTA Africa. So it's growing every day, and various languages are being included. MTA has programs which are of various interests for different people. It has religious programs, it has discussion programs, whether it's discussing the books of Prophet Messiah, Islam, Quran and Hadith, or it's teaching children prayers and various other things. Even teaching languages. There are language classes on MTA. People can learn languages. There is Quran classes, how to read the Quran. There are documentaries, great documentaries. There is documentaries about nature, about the earth, about our earth. There are historical programs. There is news. So we get news from all over the world, all the important events which are happening within the Jamaat or outside the Jamaat. This is very important, as you know. It keeps us all connected. So you can watch MTA News and you'll know what is happening in Germany, what Jamaat activities are happening in Pakistan or in Middle East or South America. People can learn about us when we do a special program, Jalsa or whatever in Indonesia. We make a news about it, and Ahmadis all over the world will see it because of the blessings of MTA. And so it has such a wide variety of programs. It also has programs about science and technology and health and parenting and about homeopathy, things like that. About even sports, even includes some things about sports. So it's really for something for everybody. And the great thing about MTA is that as it does not have any commercials, any advertisements, MTA does not make any money from any of those advertisements. The whole focus is just on quality programming. So without sacrificing standards, with very little crew, MTA is still able to work and produce excellent quality programs. These are done by MTA volunteers and Waqfin all over the world who are working in MTA. There is very much hard work that goes into producing these great programs. And MTA has state-of-the-art equipment that we use, excellent equipment for both analog and digital programming, so that we're really using the technology which has been invented for the propagation of Islam, for the tarbiyat of our members, while the rest of the world is using them for other reasons, for worldly reasons. MTA is really using it for the spread of Islam, just like the Prophet Messiah Islam said that I shall cause thy message to reach the corners of the earth. Really, the message of Islam is reaching the corners of the earth through MTA. As I said, the people working in MTA are waqfin, volunteers, and also employees. There are the way MTA is set up is, of course, Hazrat Khalifatul Masih, may Allah be his helper, has a very keen and detailed, sight in MTA operations, and all the guidance comes from Hazrat Khalifatul Masih Ayyadullah Ta'ala Aziz. There is nothing that happens without his guidance. So, of course, only through his guidance and his wisdom is possible to expand MTA. And then there in MTA there is a managing director of MTA International. And then MTA International has various directors like director of production, director of scheduling, director of IT, transmission, and various other directors. And these directors will report directly to Hazrat Khalifatul Masih, and then they will get instructions, wisdom from Hazrat Khalifatul Masih, may Allah be his helper, and then distribute that or speak to various studios and implement those instructions that are coming from Hazrat Khalifatul Masih. So this is how all MTA studios and MTA crew all over the world are connected to Khilafat, because we're really part of an international organization. So if we are here in MTA Indonesia studios, we are really part of that international organization. We are really connected to Khilafat through that system that has been created. So whatever instructions are there from MTA International that they've received from Hazrat Khalifatul Masih, we were all going to hear about it on all studios all over the world. Will work to implement that and to focus on the instructions of Huzur. So then each studio in a country has their own in charge, the head of MTA, and then various departments that work under the head of MTA, like the Department of Production, Department of scheduling and QC and IT, and various people work in these different departments. So there's a lot of work that happens when you see a program. There is a process of first discussing what kind of program to create. There are producers that are selected, producers, directors, etc. Scripts are made, research is done, talent has to be found, who's going to take part in the program. So there's a pre-production process, quite an extensive process. It takes many hours to produce one program. And then it's filmed, and then there is a post-production process which requires editing and stuff like that. So that many hours go into production of just one episode of one program. So you may see like this is a 20-minute program, 15-minute program, but many hours have been spent to make that one program. So this is all done by mostly volunteers, whether they're or waqfin or some employees that are working in MTA. So I was saying before, progress of MTA. Well, it has progressed in a great way. As you know, it started as it wasn't 24 hours to begin with, but then it became 24 hours. And it started with a handful of people working in MTA. But since then, now there are thousands of people working in MTA all over the world. Various studios have been created. You know, there is studio in Africa where for MTA Africa. There is studios in Canada, USA, Germany, um, and various many other countries. Here in Indonesia, we have MTA Indonesia studios, and uh, we have a small studio now, but our new studio building is under construction. So inshallah, we will have our own building and bigger building, and we can then expand and increase our crew so we can make more programs. And we have just a couple of hours of MTA programming, Indonesian programming right now. But inshallah, one day we hope that it will also become like 24 hours, you know, just like you see now Al Arabiya, MT Al Arabiya, which has been so useful for the tabligh of Islam Ahmadiyyat among the Arabic speaking people. So it's 24 hours Arabic programming, and then we have MTA Africa and so on. So inshallah, in MTA continue to expand in various countries, and we will see more and more of these 24-hour language channels. So one day we could have MTA Indonesia 24 hours Indonesian service. Those who are Indonesians can just watch MTA all day, anytime they want to watch MTA, they will find something in Indonesian. Similarly, there's MTA in Bangla language, and then there's French, there's Russian, there's so many languages. So that's the progress of MTA. It's amazing because these things would take hundreds of millions of dollars to achieve what we have achieved, what Jamaat-e-Ahmadiyya has achieved by the grace and blessings of Allah. Jamaat obviously does not have that type of resources. I've already mentioned MTA doesn't even make any money from advertisements because this is not our purpose. And Jamaat has limited resources, limited income. Our income is from our chanda paying members. We're not getting money from governments. We're not getting money from big businesses or anything like that. There's very little money, but the Jamaat money has incredible amount of blessings in it. As Hazur has many times mentioned, that the money may be less, but it has blessings of Allah in it. It has been blessed. So we see that with our limited resources, still the Jamaat-e-Ahmadiyya is able to afford to expand MTA studios all over the world, getting new time on new satellites, which also requires a lot of money because all the fee and everything that has to be paid. It's the budget is like, you know, is a lot, but the work that happens is still blessed because it's happening for the sake of Allah. So the people who are working in it is blessed, and we see the growth of MTA is incredible compared to, you know, other channels, and that's only because of the blessings of Allah. Okay. And regarding MTA Indonesia right now, and where we hope to see, or where we hope to go from here, is so right now, as I've mentioned before, so we have a very small studio here in Parung, Markaz, and we need, of course, a bigger studio as we want to expand. The goal is to focus on various regions. It's not just one MTA channel that is watched all over the world, but there's many different channels. Obviously, because in various parts of the world, different languages are spoken. So we have to cater to the needs of the local population. And so we are in this region in Indonesia, the world's biggest Muslim country by population. There's also other countries nearby which have significant Muslim and other population. They also speak similar languages, and in this region, MTA could really help to propagate the message of Islam to Indonesia, to the corners of Indonesia. There's so many islands and countries nearby. There's Malaysia and other countries. So the aim is to have MTA Indonesia take care of that. And one day, inshallah, like I said before, the hope is maybe we will have, inshallah, 24 hours Indonesian transmission from MTA for Indonesia, the Indonesian language. Right now, you know that there's only some programs that we make here, just a couple of hours that we are able to provide. And then the rest of the programs that are, especially programs of Huzur, which are translated from London by Maulana Mahmoud Bardi Sahib. So there's some of the programs that you can listen to in English. However, this as the need grows, in order to get to that point where we can have 24 hours of Indonesian transmission, either there's programs that are made in Indonesia or programs of Azur and other studios that make the programs. If we can translate them into Indonesian, of course, that will require a lot more work. So for that, we need to have a bigger place so we can have more people, employees or volunteers or Waqfin work for MTA. And that, is the plan. And that is happening, inshallah, very soon. That is under construction, the MTA studio. And that would be a big blessing for Jamaat, for this whole Asian region. It's not just one country. So think about that. And it's not just talking about Indonesia. We're talking about Tabligh in all of this part of Asia, in the Asian countries. So this could be very useful for Tabligh. Now, of course, as the studio is built, we can increase our workforce. And when we increase our workforce, we will have more hours of Indonesian programming. Right now, we're planning to start 2 hours of Indonesian programming very soon, every day, 7 days a week, every single day. And then go on from there to maybe to 3, 4 hours, 5 hours, and then keep expanding, keep growing. So lots of prayers are needed, and hard work from Jamaat is needed. Khuddam brothers can really help in learning about this technology. And I think Khuddam are already very active in using technology. But as technology can be used for wrong things, MTA is where you can use this technology for the sake of Islam, the sake of Islam Ahmadiyya. And that is something that Khuddam brothers should think about. Also, financially supporting these projects of construction of MTA studio and various other projects of the Jamaat. Just the MTA equipment costs a lot of money because we need to have good quality programming. MTA has excellent quality programming as far as technical stuff is concerned. It's only possible because of this equipment. So that is how the Khuddam brothers can support MTA, but also to learn this technology and then give your time, not just your money, but give your time to MTA. Volunteer at MTA, or those who are Waqfeno should plan to do Waqf in MTA. And if you have any other knowledge or skills, you can come to help MTA as a volunteer. If you love programming, making programs, making content, you can help MTA. Whatever skills you have, we will need lots and lots of support from the Jamaat. And that can only happen with your help. So the Lajna also help in the MTA. But so I also request Khuddam brothers to always keep that in mind that when you're serving the Jamaat, when you're serving MTA, you're really being part of that prophecy of the Prophet Messiah والسلام, being fulfilled, that I shall cause thy message to reach the corners of the earth. So keep that in mind and pray for the expansion of MTA, and for me and our team in MTA Indonesia, that may Allah enable us to serve the Jamaat in a best possible manner. Okay, Jazakumullah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Oke, ya itulah tayangan seputar MTA yang telah dibahas oleh Bapak Mulan Syetaha. Mungkin bisa sejenak untuk berhenti dulu di perjalanan untuk kita masuk ke dalam agenda yang berikutnya, yaitu tanya jawab.
Baik, Kang Nizam boleh tolong gimana?
Ya.
Kang Nizam boleh tolong bacain pertanyaannya nggak? Saya soalnya kalau baca buka chat mati gitu ininya videonya.
Oh,
coba ya.
Saya bacakan dulu ya, Faris ya.
Ya, yang bahasa Indonesia aja nggak apa-apa.
Ya.
Bisa aku mulai.
Baik, beberapa pertanyaan yang sudah masuk bisa kita tampilkan. Oke. Nah, ini Kang Faris yang pertama dari Pak Yadi Supriyadi. Nah, Assalamualaikum. Root MTA programs. Oh, ini langsung bahasa Inggris Kang Faris nih. Also be aware.
Yeah.
Nah, silakan langsung disampaikan kepada Syetaha ya.
Yes. Okay. Small receipt. We have our first question here. Could MTA programs also appear in cable TV?
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. This is a question which is asked by many people, not just about cable TV, but other forms of TV and various other formats of programming which are becoming famous these days. Of course, everything is possible, and in some places, I think this may be actually happening, and we are always looking for that possibility. We are also looking for it over here, but we all need to keep in mind that well, there's two or three things that, you know, when MTA is going to decide to do something like that, there are some things that we have to keep in mind. There are huge costs which are associated with some of these things. They require a very large amount of money, so Jamaat has to, you know, go step by step. And another thing is, in some countries, it is easier to get permission to have our transmission on local channels or on cable TV. But we also have to be careful in some of the countries where you know, there are people who don't want us. There are people who don't want our transmission because of the enmity against Ahmadiyya. So we have to look at all those things, and I cannot discuss the exact details here, but we have to be careful. But we are working on some of those things right now. Okay, go ahead.
Right, I will convey your message in Indonesia. So, beliau menyatakan bahwasanya ya bisa saja ada kemungkinan untuk disiarkan di TV lokal bahkan gitu, bukan hanya di kabel TV. Tapi tentu ada ini butuh proses yang sangat besar dan biaya yang sangat besar gitu. Jadi sulit untuk dilaksanakan. Meskipun kita juga tidak bisa bilang tidak mungkin gitu. Lalu yang kedua juga beberapa negara meskipun mereka kelihatannya kita gampang ya untuk MTA untuk mendapatkan izin siaran di TV lokal, tapi ada juga negara yang karena tidak suka, jadi ya susah juga izinnya gitu. Mungkin seperti di Indonesia juga ya. Jadi kita juga mempertimbangkan risiko-risiko seperti itu gitu. Jangan sampai MTA malah diserang karena misalkan di Indonesia kita nyari MTA di TV lokal, banyak yang protes, akhirnya jadi bumerang buat kita gitu. Jadi juga kita harus pertimbangkan. Tapi beliau menyatakan lagi, kita saat ini sedang berusaha untuk mencapai arah sana gitu. Begitu penjelasannya, Kang Nizam, jawaban dari beliau.
Oke, baik, jazakumullah Kang Faris. Mungkin untuk selanjutnya kita lanjut ke pertanyaan yang kedua. Nah, ini Kang Faris,
baik,
bahasa Indonesia ya.
Yeah, baik. This is our second question, Mabisab. Before MTA was established, was there any channel or any media that the Jemaat used to spread the message of Jemaat Ahmadiyah or spread the message of Islam?
Okay, I am not really sure about this question. Before MTA, of course, there was many ways that Jamaat used the tabligh, ways to do tabligh especially through press. I have no idea about radio. This was too long ago, and I don't know the history of where in what parts of the world was there radio being used. I know myself that radio is being used today in many places. I've been on Radio Ahmadiyya for years. I was on Radio Ahmadiyya in Canada, and there's Radio Ahmadiyya in USA, England, so many parts of the world. But when did it start? I don't know the history of that. Maybe the radio started, of course, because radio has been in existence much before MTA. So there was probably using radio for tabligh in many parts of the world. I know I've been to Africa, West Africa, one country, Sierra Leone. Radio was very famous over there. Not everybody even has TVs, but radio was like, extremely important over there. And so people, Jamaat Ahmadiyya in Africa, in African countries, is really using radio also, as well as TV, MTA, but they're really using Radio Ahmadiyya to preach 24 hours. But when it started or history, I'm not aware of the details.
Alright, baik, beliau menyatakan bahwasanya beliau kurang yakin ya apa sebelumnya media yang kita gunakan di Jemaat. Memang radio itu populer ya di Jemaat, khususnya di Jemaat Afrika. Mereka juga selain menggunakan MTA, juga menggunakan radio sebagai sarana penyebaran tabligh, sebagai sarana penyebaran Jemaat Ahmadiyah. Tapi kapan dimulai radionya itu, apakah dimulai sebelum MTA sudah ada, itu juga beliau kurang tahu. Begitu.
Baik, jazakumullah. Untuk selanjutnya, pertanyaan selanjutnya. Nah, ini ada dua, Kang Faris.
Okay. All right. Now we have third and fourth questions. Next question is how does MTA manage their team so MTA can successfully have a session or have a shows every day without any day off or without any day off. So like how can MTA manage their team to have so they can have a show in 24 hours without any day off? And the second question is, if we have MTA Indonesia program on 7 p.m. in Indonesia, is it possible if we have MTA program Indonesia MTA Indonesia program on Indonesia on 5 p.m. so it doesn't clash with our Maghrib namaz time?
Okay, first question, I'm not sure if I fully understood. I think you were asking me about how MTA crew manage time off or how they, so I don't know, the question is asking about MTA Indonesia or MTA International, because there's two different things. MTA International people are working for 24-hour transmission, because they have transmission coming from on various channels in many countries, and it's all 24 hours. As far as we are concerned, we are not 24 hours yet. So what happens in MTA International? Like I think I spoke in the speech that there's many volunteers, there's people who are employees, there are people who are waqfin. Waqfin have to work no matter what. There's no hours. Hazur has said there's no hours fixed for waqfin. If you're a muballigh, if you're a waqf zindagi, you just keep working. Like Hazur keeps working, he never stops. So we just do as much as there needs to be done. Having said that, there are those who are volunteers, so they come as much as they can. They give as much time as we can. Here in Indonesia, we have 6 days a week we work. 1 day a week we are off, but even on a holiday, if something needs to be done, some of the staff is always ready to come and work. So that's just like MTA is just like any other department in the Jamaat, like Khuddam al-Ahmadiyya. We rely on Jamaat members to give their time to come and help MTA, okay, or any other department, just like you all, Khuddam who are here right now, you're volunteering your time. So it works like that. So you can answer this question first.
Yes. Okay, thank you Jazakumullah. So Maulana Syed Taha Saib menjelaskan bahwasanya ini manajemen MTA-nya untuk Indonesia apa yang di internasional. Karena kan kita di Indonesia belum 24 jam. Tapi kalau secara MTA internasional karena kita udah 24 jam, tadi juga jawabannya adalah seperti yang dijelaskan di video, bahwasanya kita mengandalkan wakafinaw. Beliau menyatakan bahwa Huzur menyatakan bahwa orang-orang wakafinaw itu kerjanya nggak ada jamnya, jadi kapanpun harus siap gitu. Seperti sebagaimana Huzur bekerja yang tidak ada jamnya gitu. Jadi memang begitulah cara MTA bisa menyiarkan acara 24 jam non-stop. Jadi karena tenaga-tenaganya adalah orang wakaf dan orang wakaf itu harus siap kerja 24 jam non-stop demi jemaat gitu. Lalu kemudian kalau di Indonesia ya mereka bekerja, ada juga volunteer, ada juga wakaf, dan mereka juga bekerja tadi 6 hari dan dalam seminggu 6 hari dan 1 hari istirahat seperti itu. Tapi memang belum di MTA Indonesia belum 24 jam gitu. Tapi begitulah caranya gimana MTA bisa manage kru-nya untuk menayangkan program-program selama 24 jam non-stop.
Okay, so the other question was about clashing with the Maghrib time. Yeah, this is a concern. We have tried to deal with this a number of times before, but you see, we only have 1 hour transmission right now. And so we had to choose this time because yes, it clashes with Maghrib time a little bit, but Maghrib time also changes, a little bit in Indonesia, not too much. Some countries it changes a lot, but here, if we do it later, then it will clash with Isha time, right? So if we do it too early, like around 5 o'clock, then a lot of people are not home yet because they're still driving from their work. Like Faris Saib is still in a car right now. And it's not something we can control every day because we are on MTA 6. It's a satellite where other countries also have their programming. So MTA International has to give us a time slot. We asked for this time slot, so they were able to give it to us, but we can't just keep changing it every day because other countries have their programs also. That's the first part of my answer. Having said that, the second part, actually, how about Faris Saib? First, you translate this because the second part is kind of important, so it will be easier for you to translate this first.
Alright, Jazakumullah Murabbi Saib. Jadi Murabbi Saib menyatakan bahwa pertama itu jadwal MTA itu kan kita harus meminta slot kepada MTA internasional. Jadi ya kita juga tidak bisa mengganti-ganti anaknya karena kita juga harus mengkoordinasi dengan jadwal permintaan dari MTA dari studio lainnya gitu. Jadi tidak fleksibel untuk ganti jadwal. Dan kemudian tadi ya jadwal MTA memang begitu memang clash dengan maghrib. Tapi kalau kita mundurkan itu akan clash dengan isya. Kalau kita majukan ke jam 5 itu ada orang-orang yang belum pulang masih nyetir seperti saya gitu. Tadi beliau menyebut saya sebagai contoh bahwasanya jam-jam 5 sore itu orang-orang masih pada kerja seperti saya, masih di perjalanan, masih dalam pulang gitu. Karena itu saya ketawa. Makanya jadi ya memang menentukan jadwal itulah kenapa tidak dimajukan ke jam 5 atau tidak dimundurkan ke lebih lama lagi karena tadi meskipun dimajukan ke jam 5 banyak orang yang masih dalam perjalanan pulang. Kalau dimundurkan ke lebih larut lagi itu akan pas dengan waktu sholat isya seperti itu.
Okay, the second part what I wanted to say is this is exactly the reason why we go for 24-hour transmission or at least more than 1 hour. Because if you have 24-hour transmission, for example, one day, inshallah, one day we will have 24-hour Indonesian transmission, then you will not have to worry about watching Indonesian programming only at a certain time. Of course, there will always be Salat, so you have to break for Salat, but you will know that there's always MTA available, Indonesia available. So we're not there yet, but very soon I wanted to give you this good news. Very soon we are increasing our time. So we're going from 2 hours now, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. every day, Indonesia programming, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. And this will be happening on another satellite. This will be on Telkom 4, where we right now have MTA Al Arabiya. And Telkom 4 is an Indonesian satellite where a lot of Indonesian channels are on this satellite. A lot of Indonesian people watch this. So 2 hours on this satellite, we will have Indonesian programming. So the idea is even the Gharamdis can watch this. Right now, most Gharamdis are not watching Asia-Sat, the other channel we have. But this one will be for Indonesia. So very soon, I mean, I am talking about within a few days, inshallah, we're going to start this. We have already been testing. The tests have been successful. And very soon, we're going to start that. It will be announced in the Jamaat from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. every day, 7 days a week. You will have Indonesian programming. So you can have a bit more flexibility to watch. And one more thing I'll add, that never forget that we have social media and we have websites and we have YouTube channels. MTA International has YouTube channels and its website. MTA Indonesia has YouTube channel, so you can always watch your programs that you have missed because of Salat. You can still watch them.
Oke, jazakumullah. Maulana Syekh saya menyatakan bahwa ke depannya kan MTA Indonesia inginnya 24 jam. Jadi insya Allah ketika kita bisa 24 jam, nggak akan ada lagi kelas untuk sholat gitu. Jadi meskipun ada waktu sholat, kita bisa berhenti dulu, sholat dulu, baru lanjutkan lagi waktu kerja. Tapi itu kan masih jauh. Tapi yang dekat-dekat ini, alhamdulillah ada kabar baik dari Mubalik Fatah Anwar Said Sahib. Jadi MTA ini akan meluncurkan program Indonesia menambah jam. Jadi tadinya jadi 1 jam, jadi 2 jam. Jadi 2 jam. Dari mulai jam 6 sore sampai jam 8 malam. Tadi yang saya dengar, mohon koreksi dari tim jika saya salah dengar. Jadi dengan adanya penambahan jam ini, insya Allah kita juga akan lebih fleksibel dan juga kita juga akan bisa menonton MTA lebih lama seperti itu. Dan kemudian juga MTA juga sedang menjajakan berusaha untuk menayangkan MTA di satelit. Satelit yang tadi disebutkan, saya maaf kurang familiar dengan satelitnya, sehingga orang-orang Indonesia, orang Gair juga bisa men-setting MTA di satelit mereka dan bisa menyaksikan MTA program-program MTA juga seperti itu. Jadi seperti itu. Jadi insya Allah kedepannya MTA Indonesia akan tayang lebih lama, jadi 2 jam dari jam 6 sore sampai jam 8 malam, dan itu akan memberikan kita lebih fleksibel untuk menonton seperti itu. Maaf, ada suara mobil. Ya, jazakumullah.
Baik, jazakumullah Kang Faris dan jazakumullah Tuan Syedra untuk diskusi tanya jawab. Oke, setelah ini Kang Faris mungkin kita langsung masuk ke agenda berikutnya, yaitu kuis. Boleh nanti bantu saya untuk meriahkan kuis.
Baik, insya Allah. Morabisab, now we finish our question and answer session, and now we will start doing the quiz for the audience.
Oke, ya ini Kang Faris untuk ketentuan kuis. Yang pertama, peserta Zoom dan YouTube akan mengikuti kuis secara berbeda. Kemudian peserta menjawab pertanyaan melalui chat. Format untuk menjawab pertanyaan yaitu nama, underscore, cabang, dan jawabannya. Kemudian panitia akan memilih pemenang yang jawabannya tepat, cepat, dan sesuai dengan format menjawab. Jadi 1 orang dari peserta Zoom dan 1 orang dari viewers YouTube. Yang terakhir, pemenang kuis periode sebelumnya tidak diizinkan kembali untuk mengikuti kuis. Oke, ada lagi untuk panduan kuis. Ya, Bang Faris, ini adalah pertanyaan peserta di Zoom ya. Silakan untuk Bapak Ibu sekalian menjawab pertanyaan berdasarkan format yang telah saya sampaikan tadi. Pada tahun berapa Hazrat Muslim Maud radhiyallahu anhu memberikan nubuatan mengenai MTA? Ya, silakan pada peserta yang ada di Zoom dijawab. Nama, kemudian underscore, kemudian jawabannya. Ya, kita akan pilih peserta yang menjawab dengan jawaban yang cepat dan juga tepat. Ya, kita tunggu sampai 1 sampai 2 menit ke depan. Setelah ini yang YouTube siap-siap ya untuk cepat-cepatan menjawab pertanyaan. Gimana untuk grup atau tim? Apakah bisa di close? Sudah ya? Baik, kita masuk kepada YouTube. Peserta yang join di YouTube siap-siap. Ya, ini untuk peserta yang di YouTube. Siapakah yang menerjemahkan khutbah huzur dari London? Saya ulang, siapakah yang menerjemahkan khutbah huzur dari London? Mohon kepada tim untuk bisa membantu memonitoring di YouTube ya. Jangan sampai salah formatnya, nama, underscore, cabang, dan jawaban. Ya. Baik, sudah kita closing. Setelah itu kita masuk pada pengumuman terlebih dahulu atau info-info yang akan disampaikan. Silakan. Oke, pengumuman yang akan disampaikan pada kegiatan ke depan yaitu akan ada KPA dewasa 18 sampai 27 tahun untuk tahun 2022. Insya Allah akan digelar pada 9 sampai 15 Mei 2022 dengan tema yaitu KPA meningkatkan kualitas ilmu dan takwa generasi muda jemaat. Oke. Ya, jadi kepada Bapak Ibu pengurus mohon dihadirkan, dilibatkan sebanyak-banyaknya hudam dan lajnah yang berusia 18 sampai 27 tahun untuk mengikuti KPA dewasa. Kemudian ini adalah proyek strategis ya, 2025 sudah di depan mata. Selanjutnya ada lagi info-info atau pengumuman. Oke, akan ada webinar Risanata. Itu Risanata adalah sarana menuju keluarga sakinah mawaddah warahmah. Temanya pada Sabtu 16 April mendatang tahun 2022. Nah, ini mungkin sudah masuk bulan Ramadan. Pada pukul setengah 9, 8.30 sampai 11.30 waktu Indonesia Barat. Link bisa diakses ya di poster yang nanti akan kami sebar dengan narasumber Bapak Maulana Hafizur Rahman Danang, Muda Jabar 5, Bandung, ya kepada Dam Lajnah dan para pendamping orang tua mungkin bisa kita semarakan bulan Ramadan ini dengan Risanata nanti pada 16 April 2022. Selanjutnya ada lagi ya, Tarbiyat online akan menggelar program Ramadan yaitu Tarbiyat online Ramadan yang akan tayang selama bulan Ramadan pukul 16 hingga 16.30 waktu Indonesia Barat yang akan menemani ngabuburit Bapak Ibu sekalian dan rekan-rekan dalam program Tarbiyat online. Info-infonya nanti akan disampaikan selanjutnya. Oke, ini untuk Tarbiyat online Ramadan kami membutuhkan 7 relawan ya, volunteer sebagai video editor. Dapat menghubungi Bapak Maulana Musa Saiful Islam dengan kontak yang telah dicantumkan ditampilkan. Jadi kepada udam atau lajnah yang ingin berpartisipasi, berkhidmat di Tarbiyat online sebagai video editor, bisa menghubungi Bapak Maulana Musa. Ya. Nah, itulah beberapa info atau pengumuman pada kegiatan-kegiatan di ke depan. Oke, selanjutnya kita akan coba umumkan pemenang kuis pada hari ini. Siapakah yang menjawab pertanyaan dengan cepat dan juga tepat? Ya mungkin pada tim bisa ditampilkan. Sudah ada? Nah, inilah pemenang kuis pada hari ini. Bang Faris sudah bisa join lagi ya. Jadi untuk tema yang tadi bahas adalah MTA ya, yang telah disimak oleh kita, yaitu pemenang pada kuis yang ada di Zoom, yaitu jawabannya adalah tahun 1938. Oke. Ini oleh siapa? Kemudian yang di YouTube jawabannya adalah Bapak Maulana Mahmud Wardi. Nah, sekarang kita coba lihat siapakah yang menang. Oke, sudah hadir. Yang pertama dari Zoom yaitu Ibu Lili Sahibah Jemaah Cianjur. Kemudian yang di YouTube ada Kang Fajri Jemaah Cikalong Kulon. Barak pada Ibu dan Akang yang telah mendapatkan atau menjadi pemenang pada kuis hari ini. Nanti akan diinfokan kembali oleh tim ya untuk hadiah dan lain sebagainya. Baik, alhamdulillah kita sudah di penghujung acara. Jazakumullah khairan jazaa kepada Bapak Ibu dan semua pemirsa yang telah menyimak Tarbiyat online pada hari ini. Kita akan berjumpa kembali pada tayangan selanjutnya yaitu Tarbiyat online Ramadan. Semoga bisa lebih semarak lagi untuk menyimak. Mungkin Bang Faris bisa bantu saya pandu untuk menghubungkan kepada Maulana Taha untuk sekaligus doa. Bang Faris monitor.
Ya, bentar, saya lagi oke. Lagi cari tempat buat ini. Menepi. Bentar, ya. Oke. Ya. Oke, minta doa penutup ya.
Ya.
Jazakumullah, right, Murabi Saib. Once again, I want to say my thank you to you for joining us in this weekly online Tarbiyat, and also thank you again for your guidance and for your knowledge about by answering and explaining to us how MTA is developed in each year and from its establishment until current year, and how MTA will be developed in the future as well, especially for our MTA Indonesia. And now we are I'm humbly request for you to please lead us in silent prayers to conclude our meetings. Jazakumullah.
Okay, Jazakumullah, Jaza. Please join me in a silent prayer. Dua. Amin. Allahumma.
Baik, alhamdulillah jazakumullah kembali Kang Faris yang telah memandu acara pada hari ini, kepada tim yang bertugas dan para pemirsa semua. Jazakumullah khairan jazaa. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Waalaikumsalam.